The Denver Broncos sent a tweet out today that just sparked my interest. And I think it was subtle. It wasn't meant to be hot takey. It wasn't meant to be anything than what it was. And they wrote, Happy 7/18 Day. Celebrating the GOATs. John Elway, 7. Peyton Manning, 18. And I am on record here at Fox Sports Radio to say just how much amazement I am in on how much Peyton Manning got out of his 4-year tenure with the Denver Broncos. Like, this was, for years, and when you played in the league, he was an Indianapolis Colt.
That's right.
And to think that Peyton Manning was anything other than the horseshoe that was on the side of his helmet would have been blasphemy. But times change, things change, and he goes to Denver. And my goodness, like, Peyton still lives in the Denver area.
Yeah.
You see him at Nuggets games.
That's right.
And because of just it was awkward. I don't think it wasn't malicious at all. The Colts did what they had to do, and they drafted Andrew Luck because of where Peyton was with his neck situation. I think any team in that situation would have done what they would have done. But when Peyton Manning ends up choosing the Denver Broncos, I never thought, Kerry, that it would take off and he would have the success that he did. 2 Super Bowls, 1 Super Bowl win, and the greatest passing year that we had seen in the NFL. And that's what Peyton Manning delivered, and I just feel that the Broncos have gotten the most out of it. But what I didn't realize until I saw this tweet today, by the way, I'll put a pause on that. What was it like to play against Peyton Manning?
That was, for me, it was fun. It was exhilarating, but there was a moment, and it's funny you bring that up. That was one of the moments I felt like I arrived in the NFL. Second year, we're playing the Colts in New York. I'm having a good year. I'm leading safeties and sacks that year. And so we play Peyton. I come down. You know, he's a master of figuring out things. But I come down. He actually says, check, check, check. Kerry's coming off the side. I was like, whoa, Peyton knows my name. That's how I felt. So,
wow, that's awesome.
So you feel that way. And so it was fun, man. It was a chess match and always high-level football when we played against each other.
I always felt, even at the lowest levels of sports that I played, that the disrespect was calling the player by the number when they were a really good player. Like if you were playing the Bulls, like, who's got 23?
Exactly.
Right? Like, it's so disrespectful. You're not trying to give them any respect. It was the opposite. It was the ultimate respect that he said your name.
Because he could have said number 25.
He could have said Rhodes.
He could have said Rhodes, but he said Kerry. And I was like, oh, either I'm good or this guy studies a lot. It was that thing.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
In seeing this graphic that the Broncos put up, I said to myself, I'm like, I don't know if another team could match this. I don't know if another team in the NFL could match the greatness that they got from 2 different quarterbacks. And when you think about Elway, I think Elway is, when we look back in history, I just don't think people appreciate how great he was. And I still think people talk about how great he was, but on how good John Elway was and the type of quarterback that he was. I don't think I think Elway and Marino are like 2 guys that we look back. I think Montana's still up there because of the 4 rings.
Sure.
But we look now with passing yards, like Marino's passing numbers are matched, and we don't realize on how good he was. But Elway and Marino are in that group where it's just like, man, like, they were it. Like, they were the they were it.
They were the prototypical guys.
Yes.
They were the guys that you had to match. You had to find a match for those 2 guys.
And then for Peyton to suit up in a Broncos uniform and then have the success, it wasn't like he just signed with them for 1 year and retired and didn't really play. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, in a short time, extreme success with the Denver Broncos. Playoffs, as I mentioned, the 2 Super Bowls, going and winning the final game of Peyton's career. I don't know if there's another organization or team in the NFL that can match those 2 quarterbacks.
There is, and I'm going to throw it out there. I think there's a couple, but the one that's very obvious is the 49ers with Montana and Young. I mean, those two Hall of Famers, which they are as well. But again, you talk about the championships. Those 2 combined, even when Montana was winning them, Steve was there as well and could have won them. So that's, 5 championships between the 2? 4,
yes.
Yes. And so, I see those two being up there.
But I agree. I don't disagree with that.
Robert.
But I do think that they are hurt a little bit because they played on the same team in the same era.
Uh-huh.
And so we didn't get to see full Steve Young until he replaced Montana.
Yep.
And maybe we didn't get to see full Montana because he ended up getting replaced at the end by Steve Young.
Right.
And in this case here, they didn't overlap. They were in different generations, and we saw the full board. Montana's got 4 Super Bowls. Young's got 1.
Mm-hmm.
Elway's got 2, been to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Manning's got 2. So, I mean, they got a 1 Super Bowl lead because of that. But that's interesting.
It's close.
Because there's another one that I think is the one that we usually go to. Do you guys have other quarterback teams, Bursch? What came to your mind when we're talking about the 2 greatest quarterbacks or 2 quarterbacks on a team?
I'll go to the one I think you're alluding to, which is the Packers with Favre and Rodgers.
Right.
Obviously,
Correct.
Gigantic Hall of Fame careers for each one.
Right.
Rodgers is thrown into the discussion of maybe greatest passer of all time. I think that's a very, very strong contender.
Right.
I think that is you're right. That is the one that I was thinking of.
Sure.
But it was when I compared Elway and Manning to Favre and Rodgers that I'm like, whoa, this is it. These are the guys. Like Rodgers has been to 1 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Favre went to a couple. Won 1.
Yeah.
You know, Rodgers won his. But when you have these guys, I mean, Peyton won 2, lost 2. Elway lost, was there 5 times, as we mentioned, ended up winning the final 2. Like I think the Packers one is the one that we most think because of the succession to it.
Yeah.
And their longevity, maybe covering that, basically 30-year span that we have from 1992 till, whatever, 2022, 23, whatever it was, that Rodgers left. Like there's that longevity for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the success of Elway and Manning, I almost think trumps what they have in Green Bay.
Well, and the crazy part, let's go back to the 49ers for one more second.
You're not letting that go.
No. You talk about, Elway going to 5. How many did Manning go to in total?
4.
They lost a couple.
Yeah, they lost to the.
You know what I mean? And so, and even
Seahawks,
and even Manning
and the Saints,
and Manning at the end, the one they lost to, he was a main component of them losing. He couldn't throw the ball down the field at all that last year. So that's a little for me, that one.
Sure.
Seeing
fair.
that,
That's fair.
Seeing that didn't look too flattering for me.
Yeah, Isaac Lowenkron, do you have a team that comes to mind?
I would say this is technically the case, and it's a current one. The Ravens actually did have Joe Flacco, Super Bowl winner and champion to Lamar Jackson, but unfortunately, on a more concerning tier, is the Chargers with Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert. Because the big fear among Chargers fans is that Justin Herbert's career is going to follow the arc of Phillip Rivers' career with, a 15-year run as an elite starting quarterback with no Super Bowl championship to show for it.
That's an interesting one.
I had both of those written down. I wanted that conversation. Yeah.
The lightning bolts.
Yeah.
I would honestly, I would say this. I would put Fouts and Rivers before I'd put Herbert into the conversation.
I agree.
If we were talking about, just for what they've done in their career, well, it could be with Justin Herbert, to Isaac's point, could be different. But if we're talking about the 2 of the Chargers, I mean, just because Herbert's career is not done yet, we're still in the early portions of it.
What about adding Drew Brees to that list? Because he was right before Phillip.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's just that.
Yes, didn't have the success that he had with New Orleans.
Of course.
Obviously. Iowa Sam, is there any team that may have, or players that popped into your mind in thinking about this?
I'm either celebrating on December 4th or April 12th, man. I'm going with the Packers.
You're going with the Packers.
The Packers.
I'm gonna bring up 2 names, and I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on it. One isn't in our era. One is. What about if I said Staubach, Aikman, Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman? Would that rise to the level?
Absolutely.
I think so as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that there is such a thing about being a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Like the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is it's why we talk about Dak so much.
Right.
If Tony Romo was a member of the Tennessee Titans, we wouldn't be talking about we wouldn't have talked like Tony Romo like we did.
Right.
But that's just the weight of the Cowboys, I think, has to be something. But the success that those 2 guys had with the Cowboys puts them into this conversation.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, just I guess the wins add up for Aikman. Aikman was never, great. Really, really good quarterback in my opinion. I would never put him in that rare class though, which is probably naive of me to say because he's a Hall of Famer and really good. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question, Dan. I'm not sure.
That was one of them that popped up.
Yeah.
There are a couple more. I know you've got some written down. But do you guys have any others that may have?
Well, just to clarify the criteria here,
there really isn't one. But
no,
go ahead.
Yeah.
So if we're saying if the franchise rostered these guys at any point and we're just looking at their careers in totality, wouldn't it then be the Chiefs with Mahomes and Joe Montana?
I don't think Montana's to that point. Peyton Manning's success with the Broncos overshadows what Montana did with the Chiefs.
Sure, absolutely.
So to that, you could put that in there as part of the conversation, but it's also I look at Tom Brady, I'm like, man, Brady's just actually who else? What other Patriot quarterback would you put with Brady?
Right. Steve Grogan.
Yeah, right.
No, you guys are forgetting Drew Brees. Not Drew Brees. Drew Bledsoe.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I was thinking of the Tampa aspect of it, of there isn't anybody in Tampa, but
of course.
Yeah,
gotcha.
They went to one Super Bowl.
They went to one with Drew. Yep.
Yes.
Brad Johnson.
Yes. And what's that?
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson. There you go. Vinny Testaverde. Him and Mark Sanchez with the Jets.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
No. Come on now. All
Hey,
right.
come on. Jets would be Namath and who?
Namath.
I mean,
hold on.
No, Chad Pennington.
No, my guy Chad
Mark
Pennington.
Sanchez.
Chad Pennington was great, but not. Obviously,
Sanchez.
and not in this conversation.
Who else do you have on your list?
It's funny because everything I wanted to see where the room would go, but I had obviously I had 1 49ers, obviously 2 was the Broncos, 3 Packers, and then I had the Ravens. I had Flacco and Jackson. I said that could be a possibility. I also was going to throw one out. This is just for fun conversation, but Stafford then Goff, both are really good.
Good one, yeah.
I would say Stafford and Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
Rams.
Yeah. Oh,
That's right.
Good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's kind of like the Charger thing where Isaac was just with Herbert current, but you would have.
And then and you talk about the Colts, you go Manning Luck, right? Just from Manning to Luck. I was thinking the predecessor.
You know what? Now
they
say that Unitas Manning.
There you go.
Right.
That's one.
That would be.
Yep. That's a good
But
one.
still, I still think I still think the Elway,
I think that's one.
There's a lot of weight to what John Elway is pulling here.
Yeah.
And when you take Manning's whole career and you just think of what he did again in that 4-year window where they got every bit of juice out of that orange, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But they did, and they're still reaping the benefits of it right now.
Yeah.
Steelers with Big Ben and Terry Bradshaw, but to your point about Aikman, I think there's the same conversation with Bradshaw.
I agree. Same.
Yeah, there's just there's I find the conversations with certain teams and players that you pop up. I think that the Mahomes one with Montana is very interesting. It wasn't one that I necessarily thought of, but not every team can sport this sort of argument.
Right.
Even if you're the New York Giants, you
go what?
you have familiar
Phil
names, Phil Simms and Eli Manning.
Sure.
But Washington, for even their Super Bowl wins, they had different quarterbacks in each of their Super Bowl wins. Doug Williams and Mark Rippon.
That's right. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I forgot about
yeah. So you can't necessarily do it, and then there's teams. Sorry, Bears fans. That you don't even start. You really can't start. As a Seahawks fan, as much as I love my guy Dave Craig, it's Russell Wilson and Matt Hasselbeck, but that doesn't come close to what any of these others do.
Mm-mm.
But that's why. So as
that.
we do it now, can you guys see what I'm talking about? I think that we just always. Maybe I move the goalposts a little bit in having the argument of because of Favre and Rodgers and what they did over 30 years.
Yeah.
But I think we think of that because we always say, man, must be tough for a Packer fan. The last 30 years, here have been your quarterbacks, and now here Jordan Love comes along.
There you go.
But, with Bronco fans, sure, there were certain years that weren't necessarily great in between Elway and Manning.
Yeah.
We know that for sure. Brian Greasy didn't necessarily work out. And then we see the post-Manning era and the droughts that the Broncos went through and the Russell Wilson failure in Denver.
Oof.
Maybe highlights even more of what Elway and Manning were to the Broncos. But seeing that 7-18, it just really kind of
cool.
struck something in my mind. Good talk, everybody.